And welcome back to the Factor Uncensored, continuing coverage of the hush money trial involving former President Donald Trump. Today, his ex-attorney, Michael Cohen, took the stand. Prosecutors questioned Cohen about his work for Trump during the 2016 campaign to keep negative stories out of the press that included a $130,000 payment to Stormy Daniels. Cohen testified that Trump directed him to stop Stormy's alleged affair story from getting out, or at least be delayed until the election, suggesting that was Trump's sole motivation not to keep it from his family. Joining us to talk about it, University of Houston downtown professor Dr. Dietrich von Bietenfeld. So that was the prosecution's or the other side's key witness today, star witness, Michael Cohen, who is known as the fixer, used to be known as a fixer for former President Donald Trump.
Absolutely, and I think Fits and the Tantrums have the money grabber song that really embodies all of this trial, because at every point of this, people are saying, who is the person who is being paid to render services? And oftentimes it's portrayed by the defense that Stormy Daniels is a former adult film star, Michael Cohen is somebody who is a sycophant, somebody who took a plea deal to only get 3 years in prison. Who lied. You've admitted that you are a liar, but today you're telling the truth. Are you going to believe me or your lying eyes?
And is that a hard pill to swallow for maybe the jurors and those who may be deciding this case?
That's the hope of the defense, but the problem is at every point, and we can't unring a bell, as we say in the legal community, even if you tell jurors not to consider external evidence, they've seen TV, they understand about Trump University, they understand about how many attorneys have not been paid on time, not been paid in full, where the entire practice, while legal, may not have been ethical, where you only pay 20 cents on the dollar for your real estate holdings. And so the question is, who is more credible? Because at the end of the day, the receipts are going to show that the payments occurred as Michael Cohen testified. Now, then you get to motive intent, mens rea, and then actus rea, those sorts of areas where, again, New York, and we talked about this last time, criminal law, civil law, it gets tricky because New York doesn't do things like Texas does. That's why they're not as wealthy as we are, the largest economy. And at the end of the day, many of the things that we might consider civil charges here for certain acts are criminal charges there. They're trying to show not only collusion and misrepresentation or fraud, but they're also trying to show that these payments were misrepresented to the IRS. How do you classify things, right? I say, hey, I parked my car outside. Is it a car? Is it an SUV? Is it a van? Is it a pickup truck? We just say car. Coke. Here, is that Dr. Pepper? Is it a Sprite?
Right.
So they're trying to get Michael Cohen to come in and bring that together for everybody so that we can all be on the same page, that these payments were for the purposes that prosecution says, not for any...
Has he done that so far?
So far, I think Michael Cohen's done a pretty effective job. We don't have cameras in the courtroom, but based on the testimony, he's done an effective job of painting that picture for the jurors. And then it comes down to emotions. Who is more credible to the jurors? And it's going to be tough for the defense because at the end of the day, the jurors are not going to be able to completely divorce themselves from the prior ideas of, hey, this is the person who brags about certain behaviors with Stormy Daniels, and now he's saying that, well, that didn't happen. He's a person who brags about underpaying or not paying people, and that's how they build the wealth. But this time, the payments were legitimate and they were for bonuses.
Can a rational person as a juror say, look, I don't believe some of the stuff he's done, and I know he's a liar, but this makes sense. This makes sense. Can a rational juror do that?
100%, and that's where it becomes a challenge of putting people on the juror's stand as opposed to just bringing one and one, here are the receipts. When you bring a person on the stand and then the defense is just going to say, this person just told you they're a liar. Why are you going to believe them today? The leopard changed its spots just for you today. No. So at the end of the day, the defense's job is going to be to show that Stormy Daniels is paid for by whoever's offering the highest dollar, call girl for the prosecution before call girl for whomever, and that Michael Cohen is just trying to honor a plea deal, because that's another aspect of this that doesn't come in, is these legal elements where sometimes these plea deals have continuing stipulations of cooperation with the Department of Justice and other entities, where people say, is this confidential informant reliable, or are they just trying to keep out of prison?
And do you think the prosecution has made their case, or...
At the end of the day,
Your
they've made it with the
legal
receipts.
opinion.
Legal
In
opinion.
the last 10 seconds we have here.
Their receipts have made the case. Their witnesses are their strongest and weakest points.
All right. Dr. Dietrich von Biedenfeld, University of Houston downtown, thank you for joining us tonight.